Okay, hello everybody. For those of you who actually don't know what Eat and Greet is, Kirsty and I were watching a YouTube clip one day of a chick in South Korea who was eating, and about 50,000 people were watching her eat and were chatting to her, and we thought, wow, wouldn't it be fantastic to be able to have lunch with all of the solo entrepreneurs who are like a Nigel No Friends eating lunch by themselves. On a Tuesday at 12 o'clock Adelaide time, we decided to actually interview an awesome entrepreneur from the Smart Chicks community. So today we actually have Sam Nordberg. Hello.
Hey.
So Sam, tell us, who were you before you were Sam Nordberg, the businesswoman? What kind of got you to this point?
So my background is retail. I started fairly early on. Well, let's put it this way. I left school, I started uni. I got about 6 weeks into uni and went, no, screw this. This is not for me, hey. So dropped uni and then started working on the checkout at Kmart. You can imagine the conversation with my mum. Hey, mum, I'm dropping university to become a checkout chick. Like, I was not popular for a while, as you can imagine. So I worked my way up fairly quickly in the world of retail. By the time I was 18, I was customer service manager. So I had a team of 30. And I was doing all of the customer service training at the front end for that. And then I transitioned my way through fairly quickly. By the time I left, I was a general merchandising manager. So my departments in a Kmart store did $30 million worth of turnover a year. And I was in charge of all of the team members, the stock, and then the team training and everything that went along with that. By that point, I was about 24. I'd had 2 kids. And with both kids had gone back to work when they were 11 weeks old, and they both went into full-time daycare. And it's really sad putting an 11-week-old baby into full-time care. So I just kind of realized that I couldn't do the ridiculous things that retail makes you do, the Saturdays and Sundays and Christmas Eve and Boxing Day and all of that. So I left. And completely accidentally fell into the role as a national training manager for a registered training organisation here in Brisbane. Just a friend of a friend had said, hey, Sam would be really good at that job. And they went, well, how good, we're hiring. And I went along and they gave me the job. So
I love it.
Yeah. So I did that for about 1.5 years. And then on the side of that, had been running my own online store for a long time. And we've been running an online retail store that sells wargaming miniatures and board games and tabletop really nerdy stuff for about 7 years now. So that had been running on the side, and then I started consulting on the side, and then I got to a point where I'm like, this is stupid. I don't know why I'm working for anyone else. I don't have enough time in the day as it is. So I stopped working for someone else and just went in it alone. So now we own our own registered training organisation. I have a consulting firm. We have a membership academy, and I still run an online retail store and run events as well.
It's just amazing, Sam. Like, I remember when we first met you through Smart Chicks. We were chatting to you on Zoom. It feels like not too long ago, but it was actually quite a while ago. You really are like a bag of tricks, right? So do you want to actually go through, because you've got so many different business services, but they do kind of interrelate in terms of your, what do they call it? Like a multi-potential, is that what it is? You know how there's...
A multi-potentialite or something?
A multi-potentialite. I think that's what people have called me in the past. So it's people that have, you know, their fingers in a few pies, but it's because you've got a great skill set across many areas, and who made the rules, right? So can you start with the registered trading organisation?
Yeah. So the RTO... well, realistically, the banner over all of the stuff I do is small business related and training related, and normally the two intermix. So the RTO runs a range of small business qualifications. So the certificate for in marketing, certificate for in small business sales, and new small business, which is about startup business. And then there's the certificate for in training and assessment, where I teach people how to teach people. And I've been doing that for like 4, 5. I stopped counting. I got old at some point. So that's the training that the RTO provides is either all small business growth related or teaching people how to build their own courses and qualifications. So then the consulting that I do in the membership site that we run runs along those same threads. So we teach people how to build their own online courses and their membership sites, but we really teach a lot more holistically than that, because we want people to be able to build sustainable businesses, be that online or be that offline, be that RTOs or retail shops or whatever it is, that all the million things that I do, I want people to be able to do the same. And so when we built the academy, it was about allowing them to build a sustainable business. And if that involved online courses and membership sites, then that's great. And if it didn't, well, the academy still teaches them how to do the finance and the sales and the video and just the stuff they need to run a business.
And so tell me, we'll come back to your retail store in a sec, but tell me, with your business academy, because I know that there are quite a few people, like it's a kind of a thing at the moment. You would have noticed that people are building academies or memberships or, something where people can either be paying you monthly for a service for 12 months worth of the subscription or paying up front for 12 months worth of access to something, or sometimes lifetime access. So for your academy, do you want to go into some detail maybe about the types of clients that you have worked with in the past? Because you might be able to inspire some people that thought they might not even know that they could work with you, but actually they could.
So, for example, some people in the academy at the moment are people like HR consultants, bookkeepers, accountants, fitness coaches. Realistically, there's someone who works in a service-based one-on-one model business. So like a HR consultant who will have a client, or a bookkeeper who will have a client, who has got to a point where they've got normally quite a substantial client base. They're fairly busy. They're fed up of being busy, and they've realized that they really can't grow their business anymore by being busier because they can't get busier. So what happens then is they come to me and they're like, well, what do I do next? And so the academy realistically teaches scale, which is either through content creation, which is where online courses, membership sites, but we also look at it from the terms like the accountant is in there because she's building a client portal. So we're building an area where her clients can get access to data and information so that she doesn't have to answer all of those emails and all of those random telephone calls because she's too busy for that now. So rather than make her busier, we're looking at ways to scale her business while giving her more free time.
And so just with the accountant example, I was actually chatting to an accountant about this exact thing last week. So basically that would be a great opportunity as well for someone maybe who doesn't want to have a Facebook group that would expose who is in their database. So they want it to be a little bit more private, but they also want the same sort of access that you would be giving maybe in a free Facebook group or a Facebook membership group or something like that. Is that kind of it?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, there's some ways they can do it. So for her, we did look at, for example, integrating a forum so that the communication would be on her website rather than on Facebook. You're right, there are lots of businesses that are really weird about being on Facebook all the time, which is fair. In all honesty, if they're going for complete privacy, even the forum is no good because people need a username and it shows up whose username was talking and stuff. So realistically, what we can build is more like just a portal of information where they can go and download documents and they can watch videos and they can access the information they need when they need without anyone else knowing that that's what they're accessing.
Yeah. Now tell me, with the forum example, do you find that people are kind of into that? Because Kirsty couldn't be here today. She's actually at a course all day today, but I know that is something that's on her radar for Smart Chicks. So what kind of, what are the differences, I guess, between a forum on a website versus a Facebook group?
Yeah, okay. So the biggest issue is control. So obviously if it's your forum on your website, you have much more control. You can control, it's easier to track threads for discussion. So I know in Smart Chicks, there's always so much going on, which means the Facebook page gets really busy, the Facebook group, which means if someone's posted something really cool, that could now be like 20 posts down because someone else has commented on a different older thread, which has brought it to the top and those kind of things. So a forum gives you more control because we've all probably, and they went out of fashion for a while, but they're coming back. If you've ever logged into a forum, you'll see that there's a heap of pinned threads normally, and you can have more than one pinned thread. So whereas in a Facebook group, you'll have pinned one to the top with the instructions. You can have lots of stuff up near the top, but also then people can see all the different threads by headings. So it's easier for them to find information in certain areas, which is why for someone like an accountant, it might be useful. The downside to the forum, though, is people have to go there. And at the moment, and this is why Smart Chicks works so well on Facebook, is because we all spend far too much time on Facebook as it is. So we're already there, and it's already on the apps in our phones. So the notifications ding when something happens. So it's just whether we like it or not, we're reminded of it constantly. And there aren't a lot of great forums at the moment that are doing sort of integration with Facebook, with apps. So your client realistically needs to be near a computer fairly often to use your forum, and that would depend on your client base.
Yeah. And that's kind of what we had chatted about as well, the fact that, like the pros and cons of taking people out of Facebook and potentially putting them on a forum. It was kind of like, would that affect engagement? We don't know what's going on these days. Kirsty likes forums. I'm not a huge fan of forums. So like we were just, we've been bantering that conversation back and forth. Yeah. Okay.
There's definitely pros and cons, and part of it would depend on where your clients are spending their time. And realistically, Smart Chicks are on Facebook. So at the moment, it's really useful. The only thing I'm always concerned about, I have no doubt that at some point in the near future, Facebook will change the way groups work.
Yes.
Because they'd be silly not to.
Yeah.
So
definitely been thinking that. So, which kind of leads to the next thing, I guess, to talk a little bit more about your ability to build membership sites for people. So if we use something like Smart Chicks as an example where like you're familiar with what we're doing, and you're familiar with the fact that we do have a membership, what platforms do you use to build memberships and things like that?
So it kind of depends. There are a heap of different things on the market at the moment, and they all do slightly different things. I use Wishlist Member a lot with my website, primarily just because it's reliable, it's consistent, it's been around for ages, and at the moment there are heaps of new plugins coming and going because it's cool now, right? So everyone's got the latest thing, and the latest thing appears for a while, and then they don't make as much money as they thought, and then the support drops off. And so Wishlist Member is really consistent. Member Press is another really good one, which has been around for a while. And I know quite a few people. I'm installing it on a client's website at the moment. We're working with Member Press.
WordPress integrations.
These are WordPress integrations. There are some self-hosted ones. So there's the IPS suite, which you can host on any website, but you need the domain and it just hosts on your website. Mm-hmm. It's got heaps of add-ons like forums and stuff as well. So it's like the bigger player in the world of membership sites. But I think the moral of the story is if you've got your own website, and especially if it's WordPress based, there are also fairly cheap plugins now that you can use. And what it does is it creates an area on your website, which is username and password accessed. And once you've got that, you can decide what you want to do with that area and how much information you want to put in there and who you want to give access to. It just creates that area for you.
So in terms of, so a lot of people have a WordPress website these days, and a lot of people are moving towards wanting to have some sort of membership. So that works out really well for them. In terms of integrating some sort of list building and lead pages and sales funnels or CRM or whatever they need for their particular thing, are they all additional plugins as well that the person would have? And
it depends on how you're planning on doing it and what you're using. So, for example, I know that you guys, I think at one point were looking at Infusionsoft or Confusionsoft, as it has known. Good old Confusionsoft.
Yeah.
If you were using something like that, it fulfills like a lot of those functions. It is your CRM, it is your sales platform, it is your email marketing, it is your list building. Like it is all of those functions. But a lot of people don't and can't afford something like that, in which case, they're going to use lots of different smaller services to fill all of those little gaps. The good thing is that most plugins now, especially the ones that have been around for a while, like Wishlist or MemberPress, integrate with a whole suite of things. So you'll get your membership site will integrate with your PayPal, which will integrate with your email marketing, and the whole thing will just kind of click together. They're all separate programs, but they do talk to each other and they will fit together.
Yeah. And how much would people expect to pay a month for a, not for your services, but if they were to be, creating some sort of membership platform? Imagine their website is already fully functional and now they're looking at adding on the things that they need. What's a kind of amount of money as a startup and maybe moving into a scaling business that they would be expected to kind of, or that they would expect to sort of fork out per month to have that set up for them?
Realistically, it depends on how much they're willing to do themselves and how much they're comfortable with. So the membership plugin, something like Wishlist Member, is about $199 US.
Yeah.
Now, if you're fairly savvy with your website and you're willing to install your own plugins, realistically, you could build your own membership site for $199.
Okay, and that's just a once-off
Once off, once off payment, you buy the plugin, you install it, you follow the instructions. Yeah. So you can start fairly cheaply. If that wasn't your thing, you can get a web designer to do it for you. Depending on how much of the back end you want to build, depends on whether the web designer is going to be charging you like 500 to several thousand to many, many more, depending on your web designer. So look, there is a whole scale of pricing, and it realistically depends on what they're trying to build and how much they want to do it themselves.
Yeah. Okay, so that's obviously something that people can talk to you about as well, and just kind of work out exactly as an individualized service what they would need for their own businesses. So before we talk about exactly the package that you put together for the Smart Chicks community to be able to work with them, do you want to talk us through a little bit more about your the retail store that we were talking about at the beginning, and then also some of the gold nuggets that you've probably come across as a result of working in all these different domains, and what you've learned? Yeah.
So the retail store is actually completely different to anything that we do. The retail store is like, it sells toy soldiers. So I like to call them man Barbies. That severely upsets all of my customers. One of the best testimonials we got was we sell rule books for these man Barbie games, and one of our clients came on Facebook and commented about the squeal of glee he let out when he opened his package was so high-pitched and girly that he thinks his wife looked at him with the face that says, "We're not having sex for a while."
I love it.
So it's toy soldiers and miniatures. The guys come along. We run a lot of events now more than sell products. So the guys who have big armies and big lots of games, they come along, they bring their little toy soldiers, they line them up on tables, they roll their dice, and they move it along. If you're ever familiar with Dungeons and Dragons, it's that level of nerdy.
Okay. And is that kind of like something that you set up quite a while ago, or is it something that you've set up as a hobby for fun later, or what?
It's not my thing, that one. So my ex-husband was really into those kind of hobbies, and when we were together, he'd said, I'd always wanted to have a store, and I went, well, start one.
JFDI.
Thank you. Just do it. Hey. So, and that's very much how I've treated a lot of my businesses, and that's one of my biggest golden nuggets. And I was talking to a client about it this morning because he kept asking me all these questions. He's like, should I do it this way or this way? And should it be $19.99 or $29.99? And or should it have an intro or an upsell? And I'm like, you know what? I don't care. Just do it. Like, there is no right answer, and I can't give you a right answer until we've tried. Yeah. Like, we can try a $19.99 and then upscale it to a $29, or we can try a $29 and reduce it to $19. Like, I'm not your client. We can test, we can measure, we can try, but until you have tried, you just don't know. So that's the biggest thing.
Brilliant advice in itself, speaking of golden nuggets, because I think a lot of people go into this analysis where they're like, okay, what are people going to think? What do you think people will want? What will they want to pay? What will they want to see? What will they want to smell? And it's like, until you just go out and just test some stuff and just do it, JFDI, do it, you're not going to know, because it's all trial and error, unless you're a carbon copy of somebody else, and no one really wants to be that anyway. So it's just...
And the reality is things change as well. So even if something had worked for someone else 6 months ago or 12 months ago, it doesn't mean it will work for you now anyway. And I guess this comes down to my second golden nugget, which is be willing to change and be flexible. And if someone is telling you that there is a right way to do something, just think twice before you believe them.
Yeah.
Because I found that in all the businesses I do, like, people are like, you can't do that because, or that's not the right way to, like, I don't care. I'm the worst person when it comes to the right way to do things. Like, we do just throw things out there and see what happens. But the reality is my businesses have changed and morphed. Like, we started the retail store 7 years ago and things have built over then. My businesses are nothing like they were 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Because things change. Times change. And you know what? I was just looking at the figures today from Target, and Target are going through a really tough time because Kmart has come. Like, everyone loves Kmart. But you know what? 6 years ago, Kmart was doing terribly. They were looking at closing it down, selling it off to the Chinese. It wasn't making any money. If someone has said to me that Target was thinking about closing and Kmart was the big player, I'd have said they were idiots.
Yeah.
But things change. The market changes. What people want change. And if businesses aren't fast and flexible, then they're not going to stick with it. So, nugget one.
I've got a brand strategist on board as well. That kind of steered them in a different direction, or a new buyer's agent or something.
They had a new managing director who came from McDonald's Asia. So they embodied the McDonald's strategy. But yeah, so this is moral of the story. Golden number one, just do it. And golden nugget number two, there isn't a right and a wrong, and you're going to have to change it anyway. Like, and don't be afraid of that change, because it's going to happen.
Yeah, I agree. And the thing is as well, who made the rules, right? There was a conversation happening over in the Smart Chicks Coterie yesterday or this morning. I don't know. I lose track of my life. But basically, this week, where someone was asking whether or not it was okay to have two people's names on a business card. And there was a lot of discussion around, whether that was the right thing to do or whether it was professional. And what it comes down to is you can do whatever you want. What a probably more telling question is why do you think that there is a rule around this? Where's that coming from? Because often our perception of what is normal or what is the done thing comes from somewhere deep in our subconscious. Yeah. So if we can kind of let the rule book go and just go, you know what, you can do whatever you want. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Fail fast. And change it, pivot, do it something differently next time.
Yeah, that's it. And I think a lot of people are worried about, it comes down to what people will think. Yeah. And I've had this before. I said to someone, you know what, we'll just try it. And if it doesn't work in a month's time, we'll just change it. We'll change the pricing structure. We'll change the sales page. She's like, I can't just change it. I'm like, no, you can actually. That's exactly what you can do. You can just change it.
Yeah, you can pretty much just do whatever you want. So tell us, for all of the people playing at home that are interested in, okay, so let's talk about the target population. We'll recap. We've got a person who is probably a service-based person to some capacity, whether it is coaching or sport or, whatever, and they've run out of hours in the day and the week to be able to scale their business because there's nothing more to give. And they want to move on to creating some sort of online membership platform where they can offer services that are automated. It might be, I assume, a combination of evergreen courses and services, and also, even a combo of some real life type stuff as well. Yeah. So if they want that, let's talk to Sam, right? So what can you do for them? What's a package that you can potentially offer them to offer your services?
So I was thinking about this a little bit earlier, and the biggest thing I find is a lot of people just don't quite know what they want, and they don't know how much it's going to cost them. And while we take some VIP clients, and there is some government funding available as well, the government have just reopened the digital grant application process. Mm-hmm. Most people just don't know what they want. So my normal fee structure is $250 an hour for consulting. But for Smart Chicks, I'm going to offer up the opportunity that they can have that at $100 off. Yay. So if this is something that they think they might want, but they just don't know, they don't know what the steps are, they don't know if it's right for them, then I'm offering $150 for consultation with a full action plan off the back. So I'll tell them exactly what they need to go and do next. That might include me recommending plugins and steps where they can go and do it themselves, or grants they can apply for, or even just lining them up for where to go next. But I wanted to make sure that they could just ask all the questions and get a really clear action plan so they know what to do.
Yes, that is amazing. Okay, so tell me, that's for, is that for the members or is that for the guys over in the coterie?
That's for the coterie.
Okay, cool. And do we have anything up our sleeve for members?
We do. So members can access that as well if they'd like, but specifically for members. So the Academy is a 12-month portal, and inside the Academy, I share everything to do with membership sites and course creation. Everything that I would normally tell people on consults and things. Access to the Academy is $299 a year, and that's the price they pay. But Smart Chick members get $100 off. Oh. So this is lifetime. It's like a grandfather fee. They will never pay full fee. They will only ever pay their reduced Smart Chick fee, which would be $199 for 12 months access. So if they're ready to do it, they want to know all of the support. We do live Q&A sessions. I answer all of their questions, give them all of their guidance, and there's 170 odd how-to videos in the Academy. That's the best way for them to get in.
Yeah, man. Okay, so that is just brilliant. So everyone has the opportunity to come and chat to you for $150 and walk away with a full-blown action plan about where they're going,
what to do,
what they might be even thinking about doing, what are the point, and then those of you who are kind of members and ready to rock and roll, you can actually have access to the membership every year for $199 each year into your the academy. So holy crap, that's really freaking cool, man.
There you go.
I'm excited. Okay, that's brilliant. Oh my gosh. Do you want to say anything else before we wrap up our lunch?
No, but I think the moral of the story from lunch is stop panicking about it. That there isn't a right or a wrong, and this isn't necessarily core membership based. It's every aspect of your business. You know what? People tell me I'm insane for having a retail site and a consulting firm and so who set the rules? If I want to do it that way, I can. And you know what? You can do whatever you want as well. Just give it a go.
Yes, I agree. Oh, thank you so much, Sam, for chatting to us.
Thank you for having me.
No worries.
Okay.
Bye.